Hello everyone, and welcome to my ranking of Ocarina of Time's bosses and mini-bosses. In this video, I'm going to be talking about these fights and my hopes for the remakes, so let's get into it. Queen Goma. She is the very first boss fight in the game, and as such, she's pretty easy and simple. However, there are some tricks that take some time to figure out, and chances are you won't until your next playthrough. That said, I think Goma is a C-tier boss just because of how simple and quick the fight is. For the remake, I don't think they should really change anything about this fight, personally. I don't want this remake to be made for, I don't want this to be Ocarina of Time for veterans, you know? Maybe there could be a master mode for that, in which Goma has a second phase, but it should also include a normal mode for new players to make sure this amazing game is passed on. Next up, we have our first mini-boss, the Lizalfos. Now, I personally really like fighting these guys, especially when there's two of them. And while they're not easy to fight, you feel like you've grown stronger, you know? You've gone from practically the empty Deku Tree with no enemies hardly. And then you went through Hyrule Field past the Stall Children, and then up Death Mountain past the Tektites, and now you're finally ready for some tougher enemies, which they don't hesitate to provide. I'm thinking B tier for the Lizalfos. For the remake, some more moves would be cool to see. Right now it's just kind of jump slash, jump away. I think additions to that would be fun. Our second boss, King Dodongo. I can't lie, I was a little disappointed by this fight. It's kind of like the final test of your skill with the shield and bombs, but that's pretty much it. Dodongo for me is another C-tier boss. For the remake, I would love some more animations, as the fight now it's basically just him walking around, then he inhales, then he breathes fire, and then he rolls around. Which I guess, I don't know, I guess that's good for beginners. But I'm thinking it'd be also cool to have like a moment where you shoot each of his eyes with a slingshot or something. Our next mini-boss is Big Octo. This was the hardest or maybe second hardest mini-boss in the game for me. I know there are certain tricks, but I can never do them right, and I always had trouble stunning and hitting him. So this fight probably lasted the longest for me out of them all. In the remake, I would love to see some updated controls, which I'm sure we'll get, but I would always run to the spiked wall that you run around when I was trying to get to him. Other than that, I don't think much needs to be changed. Obviously, a second phase for all of these, master mode or not, would be cool. Not necessary, but it would be cool to see. I'm gonna put this in D. Our third and final boss in the Child Link Temples is Baronade, the most disappointing. Man, was it annoying too. Between the electricity and the awkward aiming, this fight isn't really that good. It also is a pretty ugly boss. I would like some updated visuals and maybe a slightly better design, but of course not too different. I think phase-wise this fight is pretty good, but you know, I don't know, this boss makes sense for the dungeon, but I never really liked it, so for those reasons, I'm going to put it in C tier. Our third mini-boss is Meg the Poe. I really like the mechanics of this fight. I think it's perfect for a ghost mini-boss. For the remake, a second phase I think could work. Right now it's just kind of the same thing over and over again, which isn't really bad. It gives you time to figure out how to fight her and all that. Overall, I don't think much needs to be changed other than visuals and such, and I think Meg is a good B-tier mini-boss. The first Adult Link boss is Phantom Ganon, and he is one of my favorites. The concept of the whole fight is awesome, having him go in and out of the paintings, shoot lightning, then volleying energy. It's a fight I look forward to every time. That said, it definitely is not easy. Once again, for the remake, I don't think much needs to be changed. I think he's got good mechanics, good phasing, with I think like 3 phases, and overall he looks amazing, even in like the crappy N64 graphics. So this is going to be our first S tier boss. Up next is the Flare Dancer, probably the weirdest mini boss in the game, but it is a pretty good fight. You throw bombs to knock it out of its fiery clothes, then it runs around with those little odd legs. It is rather annoying to hit though, because it always runs away from you and it's hard to catch. I think you can hook shot it though, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am. For the remake, I think putting the fire in the center of the room, like the fire that he jumps in and out of, I think putting that on a circular platform would make this fight a lot better. But once again, I think it's pretty good as is, which is something I'm probably going to keep saying. Ocarina of Time is just amazing. All said, the Flare Dancer is a good B tier. Now we have Volvagia, my favorite boss design in the game, maybe except for Phantom Ganon. The fight itself is really nice also, and I think the phasing is probably one of the best out of them all. He has, I think, 3 or 4 phases that he cycles through, which keeps the battle engaging and intense. It's kind of hard to hit him in his whack-a-mole phase, but that's probably intentional, so, whatever. In the remake, having him be vulnerable to arrows during his flying phase would be nice. I can't remember if he is. I was getting mixed results when I looked it up, but I remember trying to shoot him and it didn't work. Maybe having a window where if you shoot him, he doesn't breathe fire or knock down the boulders, like a way to cancel out his attack. I think that would be cool. Either way, Volvagia is another S tier boss for me. Now for the mini-boss we've all been waiting for, Dark Link. Just like Volvagia, Dark Link has the best phasing out of the mini-bosses. Because he mirrors your movements, he also has many different attacks as well, probably the most out of them all. And the most annoying being when he stands on your sword and you can do nothing but wait for him to hit you. The room this fight takes place in is very cool as well, and when you make it to the other side and look back to see the menacing shadow just standing against the tree, it's genuinely frightening. I go on and on and on about how much I love this fight, but let's talk about the remake. I think having him mirror everything you do would be awesome. Like having him use every item you do would be really cool to see. For instance, if you pull out a bomb, he pulls out like a shadow bomb. If you use a boomerang, he uses the shadow one, That is my biggest wish for this fight. I don't think it's a surprise that Dark Link is going in S tier, which is our first mini-boss to do so. Our third adult Link boss is, Morpho. The ugliest, stupidest fight in the game. It's literally just a water tentacle with a nucleus. Ganondorf gets the Triforce of Power, and this is what he makes to stop Link. Anyway, the idea is cool with it being able to manipulate the water however it wants and all, and pulling the nucleus out with the hookshot is a fun mechanic. But overall it's just annoying, what with the spiked walls and the way it grabs and throws you. I honestly don't think anyone would mind if they did away with this boss and made an entirely new one. I would actually love to see a Morpho 2.0, where it was like a full elemental being or something. Or maybe Morpho could start off the same, then have a second phase where it morphs. Get it? Morphs. Where it morphs into a more intense creature. I just think after going through the water temple, which really isn't that bad, I don't know why everyone hates on it, except for that one key that I can never remember about, it's a pretty good dungeon. That said, it is going in D tier for now, marking our first and probably last D tier boss. Now we have the creepiest, most frightening enemy in the game, the Dead Hand. These guys are freaky. Fighting them is also pretty annoying because you have to avoid the hands that grab you, and then you have to wait for it to pop up, and then it takes a lot of hits to kill. Overall, they do their job of making your skin crawl, but they aren't the best fight. Nintendo, please don't change anything about how they look, unless you want to make them more frightening. They are perfect for the Shadow Temple in the bottom of the well, and I think not much needs to be changed mechanics-wise. For turning this children's game into a horror film, they get S tier, but as a mini-boss, I'm going to put it in B. Expanding on the creepy theme, we have the next boss, Bongo Bongo. Whenever I hear this name or read it, I think of that one Star Wars episode from Star Wars Rebels where the clones are hunting Big Bongo. And I forget his name, but the one clone is like, "Oh, let's go hunt Big Bongo today." I don't know, if you know, you know. Anyways, Bongo Bongo is a pretty good boss. The mechanic of having to use the lens of truth to see him is cool, and the concept of the fight taking place on a big drum was very creative. The fight itself is fun, except for when you get thrown off the side into the poison or run out of magic power. Having to use the hover boost does slow you down a bit and messes you up a lot, so I think making them more manageable in the remake would be good. I think Bongo Bongo is our first A tier boss, but I think he could make it in S if some of those things were fixed. Up next is one of my favorite enemies, the Iron Knuckle. They are so fun to fight, and the reveal after the fight in the Spirit Temple was really cool, which I won't spoil. I don't know why Nintendo didn't add them or Dark Nuts into the Wild Era games. They would have been awesome. In the remake, giving them some more attacks and moves would be so cool. This is a solid S tier mini-boss. Now we have Twin Rova, the last boss that frees a sage. I was surprised when I first fought them, because I just thought they were going to be a couple of old hags or something, you know. And while it did take me a while to figure out the mechanics, it's a pretty good fight. The idea of using the mirror shield to send their attacks back at them was really fun, even if it is pretty hard at times. Also, being hit by their attacks does a lot of damage, meaning it's easy to die early on, and it's not easy to get back. This is the first boss to really have a solid first and second phase too, which I like. In the second phase, you have to absorb their attacks in the shield, but absorbing the wrong one will reset your progress, which happened a lot to me, mostly accidentally. In the remake, I think having some variation would be nice, because once you learn the pattern, it's pretty straightforward. Also, I think that having a room in the Spirit Temple where you use the mirror shield that trains you to use it in the fight would be cool, because as is, you just kind of go in the boss fight not really knowing what to do. So I think having a tutorial kind of room before you enter the boss fight would be helpful for a lot of people. Anyway, I think Twin Rova is probably an A tier boss. Before we rank the final two bosses, we have some more mini-boss enemies. I considered not ranking them because they technically aren't mini-bosses in a dungeon per se, but I think they deserve a spot on this list. First we have the Stalfos, which is basically the skeleton soldier version of the Lizalfos. Same with the Iron Knuckle. I do enjoy fighting these guys, though it can be annoying when they block constantly. In their remade fights, I would once again love a larger moveset. I put them in B tier. Then we have Wolfos. I was never a huge fan of these guys, but they are fun to fight, they're not bad. The weak point on their tail helps a lot, but it's not really that easy to hit. The way they constantly block is also annoying, and you have to wait for them to attack before you can, which it's much more annoying than the Stalfos blocking. Getting ambushed by these guys in the Forest Temple is not fun. I hate to sound like a broken record player, but more attacks for these guys would improve them a lot, I think. To B tier they go. The last mini-boss enemy is the Gerudo Warrior. I love when you have blade-to-blade combat in Zelda games, and the fighting style of the Gerudo is always fun to go against. That said, it does get pretty repetitive with how many times you have to fight them in the Gerudo training grounds. It makes sense as it's representative of training, but it does get a little arduous. But I'm going to focus on just the fight itself, and because of that, they're going in A tier. My wish for the remake is to have them have each fight different to erase the repetitive battling. So each Gerudo warrior face has a different moveset, different tactics, stuff like that. Our semi-final boss, Ganondorf, the main villain himself. This fight can be a little repetitive also, and it reuses the Dead Man's volley mechanic from Phantom Ganon, but man, is it an amazing fight. The setting, how Ganondorf looks, it's all perfect for the finale of the game. I would love to see a second phase also. I saw a fan-made one recently. I'll link it in the description. Oh, another pun, link it. Which was really cool. It was really cool, and it got me thinking that this fight should have one in the remake. And given the original Ocarina of Time trailer where there is a sword fight between Link and Ganondorf, I think it is very possible we'll be getting one now. Obviously, this is an easy S tier boss. The final boss, Ganon. After using the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf transforms into a pigman and disowns the dwarf. Cause, that's what you do when you get powerful. The only thing I didn't like about this fight is how long it is. It gets repetitive and lasts longer than it should, I think. That would also be an upside of a second phase Ganondorf, because it would allow this fight to be cut shorter. This final battle is built up very well though, with intensifying music and a trial of enemies leading up to it. The final battle soundtrack itself is very underrated. Is actually amazing and perfect for the setting. If it isn't cut shorter in the remake, at least another phase would be cool. I'm going to put this just below Ganondorf in A tier. So that is my ranking. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see the full tier list. In my opinion, the best Ocarina of Time boss is either Ganondorf or, surprisingly enough, Volvagia. The best mini-boss is for sure Link. But I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with my ranking? Are you excited for the remakes of these bosses? One of my main questions is, should health bars be added to these fights like in the Wild Era games, or should we be left guessing how much longer the fight will go on? I personally think the latter is more fun, more realistic, and more engaging, because I feel like in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom you just kind of spam your weapons until the health bar is gone, and that was never really fun to me. But I feel like, I don't really know if health bars are even being considered. I feel like as a true remake they shouldn't be. But anyways, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now. The first Adult Link boss is Phantom Gammon. Phantom Gammon, what is that? This fight can be a little repetitive also, and it reuses the Dead Man's Volley mechanic from Phantom Gammon.